All right, folks, good morning and welcome on back here this Tuesday, April 25th, shortly after 9 a.m. Eastern Time. And once again here this morning, we have another runner, ASTS, pumping up right now. It's actually not up that like 100+% that we normally see, actually up over 25% right now, but breaking a new high. So great to see all of our members and students alike inside our live trading room. We got Andre, Ravina, Bobby, Brad, Lawrence, Michael, Alex, who I just finished a coaching call with just a moment ago. We had Wayne and Sydney as well. So perfect, folks. And for all of us on YouTube, Facebook Live, LinkedIn, Twitter, the works, etc. Great to have all of you back today. I got the baby face today, so don't mind that. But a couple of housekeeping notes to begin, folks. Today is Tuesday. Before I get into this ASTS move here, we're going to cover this runner at least in our workshop later on this morning. So that being Traders Talk, that's going to be exclusively done inside our live trading room for any of our members like Michael, Ravina, Brad, Leda, etc. You folks certainly know better than anyone. But any students here or trial members that have any questions that you'd like to send over, I'm typing my email address here in the chat board right now, josh@ctutrading.com. Hey, that goes across the board, though, for all of us in social. If you wanted to join us today for that workshop, we'll try and have like a tiny little 2-minute clip video on our YouTube channel coming up later on this evening. But if you're interested in joining us as well later on this morning, just go right down to the link on the bottom right there. I'll post my email here. I typically do that at the end of these streams, but any questions that you folks have for me, shoot me a quick email and we'll answer it live at 11 o'clock, at the top of 11 o'clock Eastern Time later on this morning. So with that said, right now, folks, ASTS, I got my Benzinga up right now. Little light fixture right here. There we go. So ASTS, this ended up making a big run just a moment ago for us. We saw this earlier, though, in pre-market. So what was the news that came out? What led to the pump up? Well, to be transparent with you, I actually have one headline, but it's from April 18th, not April 25th today. That was like exactly a week ago. So there's no specific headline that I see for this ASTS move. It's just to say then that you got to be quick with getting out. If this stock is pumping up right now the way it is, I wouldn't look to hold on going into the open. I would look to take the money and run just sooner than later. You could always get back in on the trade if it affords you the chance to. And hey, it's not just ASTS here that's moving. There's plenty of other stocks that we'll be following and trading once the market opens up, if not already, as we have here. So yeah, ASTS I'll put on our main watch list just to begin. It's always nice to have a headline, right, for a company, see why a stock is up so much. But don't let that deter you from trading it, because look at the opportunity that you missed if you ended up just being more ignorant to the trade. The question is, though, is that when is the top coming in? So the more that this pumps, again, you should look to expect a bit of a pullback, or eventually once this pushes up, I would expect the next major resistance to be off or near a whole number level. So that being $6 ahead, perhaps. Just food for thought, that's all. So I'll put this on our watch list just to begin, the ASTS. All right, so a couple of other trades, and I'm down on the morning. I'm trying to work my way back right now on this BXRX trade. It popped up so nicely earlier, I didn't even check the news out on this stock as well, so I'll do that in just a moment. But hey, for as much as it pumped up, it pulled back. And for as much as it was pulling back for myself and Alex on our coaching call in pre-market, we were thinking, all right, well, where's the bottom going to be? So we ended up trying it at first off of 282. It ended up breaking below there and just, hey, took a tiny loss at first. It kept dropping. We tried it off of 264. It shook us out. Tried it again off the 50% line. It shook me out, and then I jumped back in off 270. So I'm hoping for this to pump up higher. Otherwise, I got to watch out over this trade, look to get out if it ends up pulling back a little bit more from here. Big CVP level, roughly around 270, 268. So personally, I'm hoping to hold higher lows right from here and for it to run back up. Let me just check the news out on the stock. I didn't paste this in the chat board, so allow me just to do that here for all of us in the cyber group room right now. So BXRX, a few words above my pay grade here in this news headline. Top line data from its phase 2 trial of BX1000 for neuromuscular blockade in patients, blah, 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 blah. All right, so the thing that I got out of this was that it was phase 2 trial, and top line data looks like it ended up meeting primary endpoints. So that is pretty positive news for this company. We had said this yesterday, at least from the little pharmacy, knowledge that I have, at least, and I get it from Fausto and from the industry here. phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, then FDA approval. So, the stock yesterday we saw coming off phase 1 news, the thing exploded, ended up making a much bigger move actually percentage-wise than what you're seeing here. So hopefully there could be a lot more left to this stock, and it's coming off the next phase 2 news. There's more to it than that, but hey, that's the next step ahead. So yeah, BXRX, it's more liquid here as well, which I like. That was why I was personally more interested in this trade throughout the pre-market. Good spread. We'll have pretty good tier size once the market opens. All right, so I'll tell you, let's go from top to bottom here because, hey, we traded the VIRI stock, and I think that's pumping right now as I see the price 124 here on the scanner. I was like, hey, when was the last time this was at 124? It wasn't. It was pushing up again to break a new high right now. So, ended up calling this out off the initial pop. I was hoping to see a dollar hold as support on the pullback. It just didn't fall close enough there at the time, and then ended up holding higher lows from 110. So that's what led to the better play here. Definitely going into the open, I'm going to put this on our list. It's up over 100% or near 100% right now. So, hey, again, we've seen this happen all the time. These runners that make these extraordinary runs, just because it's up 100 doesn't mean that it's going to be the end of the move here. Just look what happened yesterday on a bunch of these stocks that we had. So it looks like a gap fill, if anything. If you see the daily chart back from the end of last year, mid to end of last year, I mean, bottomed out at, what is it, like 330-ish, 320-ish here, 325? It's not getting that far, I'll tell you that much. I'm not holding my breath waiting for that. But there really isn't much data to work with here otherwise. That's what makes it pretty damn compelling. So it looks like it ended up bottoming out here on this one candle, which I'm not going to hold much weight on there. But it bottomed out at 192, closed at $2 there. That could be a historical level, but still has some work to do prior to getting up to towards that price. 150, I'd assume to be next, even if it can flip this into support, the previous highs. So VIRI, definitely on our list. We'll see if this can make the better move or a similar move after. All right, we keep it going. CXAI, I told you before, I like following stocks that are very liquid. Hey, BXRX and VIRI are two pretty liquid stocks. Well, this really is not. You could just see how thin of a book this is right now, big spread. So with that, it pumped up earlier. It topped off around 9. I tried jumping in on this trade off of 9 earlier. I made like a few cents on it on like smaller share count. I'm going to call it a break-even trade if we're being honest. It was a break-even trade. Ended up dumping off shortly after. Now certainly at this point making the sharper drop. So be careful on this trade. We know how this stock has ran for us back a week or two ago. Just you could see here on the daily chart. So big pump up from 2 up to 10 nearly, then gapped up the next morning that much higher. But the end result afterwards was a big dump. So don't get stuck holding on to this trade, basically, is what I'm pointing to, right now. Wait to see support build at this stage since we're getting the sharper drop off. Perhaps we'll get that test of $8, Alex. We were talking about that earlier on our coaching call. Maybe not even 8, maybe even lower, like 780. That was the initial level in which the stock broke out of at first. So, you know what? I'll put this on our list, but just follow the trend more than anything. Getting a small move on my BXRX right now, up towards 278, 280, Alex. We're doing good there. All right, so let's just kind of go through otherwise the gainers list here. We didn't really go over as much what had moved from yesterday, right? But hey, if you're on social media right now, join us in our trading room. Later on this morning, we're going to cover a couple of the runners from there in our Traders Talk workshop. All right, but for right now, and we'll also talk about ASTS there too. We already have this on our watch list. So, hey, just be careful of the trend down off the highs here, but we'll see if this can make the better move later on. Looking good on BXRX, my friends. All right, ARWR, not doing much. PCT, little pop, actually big pop, pretty big spread, and a big drop right back down after. The stock trades about like 1 million shares on average a day, if not like a little more than 1 million. All right. Surprised it's not trading more than that, or a lot of volume really for right now. 250,000, I guess you could say, is a lot, but it's got a pretty big spread, thin book. I'll put this on our watch list for right now. Probably be at the very bottom, probably like the last one on our list right now. Just the others are a lot more compelling, even that CXAI. ZFOX from earlier, talking about a stock that was on the pre-market list, but it was a dud. I like the liquidity, but clearly this stock just had no bounce to it at all. Just kept grinding on down. I wasn't as focused on this on my coaching call earlier with Alex, but I mean, hey, the more it drops off, you might think, when is it going to bounce? This might be on the freaking losers list by the end of the day today, folks. It was up a lot in pre-market. It's only up 11% now. So just follow the trend, right? Not really too particular about this trend here on ZFOX. After the open, if it pops, then perhaps I'll call it out. Spotify coming off earnings today. A couple of earnings this morning, folks. While I have you here, JetBlue, GM, Spotify, 3M, a couple of others like Pepsi, but those were on my main list at least initially. We'll check out GM, up over 2% right now. Lower high building right now, but nice little pop. JetBlue off earnings. Not much activity here in pre-market, so I'll pass on that. And again, the others are pretty expensive. So Spotify is up the most. That looks like the best chart in terms of a trend. So if you want to do an options call on that later on in the morning, look for a bounce and buy an options call there, lower premium. That's different, but otherwise, I'll pass on this for the meantime, see if there's anything more within our wheelhouse, our price range. LAZR also, I think, could be as well. Luminar Tech. We are pretty familiar with this trade as well. We ended up doing pretty well on this back in late Feb, early March as it pumped up for us. So with that, we're familiar with it. It will be more liquid when the market opens. This order book is going to fill in more. I would largely feel confident in that. I don't want to use the G word, but I all but G word believe that. And if you don't know what the G word means, it means guarantee. We don't like using the G word here in trading. Not much is guaranteed. So, all right. I'll tell you, we got a good list so far, even with that PCT on the bottom there. I like it so far, everything else that we got. So let's hop over to the losers list, seeing if there's anything looking just as good. There is already. FRC, I forgot about this one in pre-market, dropped off lower. It was hard for me to borrow. So the news out on FRC, we had posted this earlier inside our chat board. Give me a quick second here. I'll go back. FRC shares trading lower yesterday evening after the company announced a decline in profits, or a decline in deposits. Geez, my dyslexia. A decline in deposits and revenue for the first quarter, and said it will reduce its workforce by 20 to 25%. The company also said it would not take questions on its conference call and withdrew all previous guidance. That does not sound too good. So I'm surprised the stock is not down even more than it is right now, percentage-wise. With that said, look for a bounce, but much later into the morning. Not right now, probably around 10:30, 11 o'clock, maybe later in the morning. We saw it happened on AI. This was back a week ago or so. Once it was after the SEC complaint that came out on them, but it was just a day in particular. Nice pop. Day in particular where AI just kept dropping, and we were looking for a bounce and just never really gave it to us. This could have been it here, these micro bounces, but it just kept pulling lower. So that's where you got to be careful there on the FRC coming off the news here going into the open. Well, I have AI here on the screen. Not a half bad pop, actually. It's up over 3%. Definitely good sideless material right now. Not putting this on the main list just yet, but writing down my notepad, that's for sure. Nice catch, actually, here. Let's see if there's anything looking pretty good, though. Otherwise, maybe better than AI, perhaps. If all the other AI stocks start pumping right now to finish up this meeting, then we'll definitely check those. PACW is easy for me to borrow. If that moves in sympathy with FRC, then I'll definitely put this on the main list. I'm sure that you could say the same on Key Bank, Western Alliance. Well, if it's easy to borrow and it's down big, then it's just good enough for me to put on the list. I'm not going to force everything else out there. But I'll tell you, though, pretty good bounce so far on my BXRX. About time, Alex. There we go. So I want to make sure I can get out on this trade before the open, make sure that I can give the stock and myself a chance to breathe. So with that, folks, let me know if there's anything else up, down, left, right, more than 5% that you'd want me to check out. Ravina saying there's news on AI. Let me go back to AI, actually, while I'm at it. So there is news. She is correct. So there is some news out at 5 in the morning in regards to AI sector, but United States Air Force designates C3 AI, this company, predictive maintenance solution, as a system of record for condition-based maintenance. That sounds like a very wordy headline. I'm actually going to copy and paste the whole news snippet here in the chat board because I'll probably blow up the chat a little bit, but there you go. That's the full skinny on AI here, folks, inside our main chat board in our live trading room. But otherwise, yeah, I guess with the news out, hey, you know what? I will put this on our main list. If there's news to back it up, perhaps more eyes will catch onto this trade, and tell you what, pretty quickly here. I don't have my other platform up. All right, folks, we got to get out coming up here. I got to make sure I'm good to go on BXRX. This is flying up for me right now. So, folks, hey, if you're on YouTube or Facebook Live, join us inside our live trading room, especially for this morning's live workshop, Traders Talk. But otherwise, for Alex and Lita and Ravina and all of us there live, hey, I hope you all caught a piece of this trade, at least for right now. I'm going to make sure I get out pretty soon, if not right now. Asking here, why is your picture so fuzzy this morning on YouTube? Lastly, I got to fix that. I don't know what's happening there. Hopefully it's not coming in fuzzy. That might be your personal settings there. You might need to check your YouTube player settings, seeing if it's on like HD 1080p. That could be the case there. I got the baby face this morning, so that could also be. Folks, hey, we're going to dip out for right now. Any questions that you have, feel free to shoot me a quick email on social, josh@ctutrading.com. We look forward to seeing you inside our live trading room. Take care.